Oh Lord, how do we do this? Installment 3 of Neas Sir Lancelot. That's pretty funny. People who know me well. Foul-mouthed, gritty Chicagoan that I am. I'm a different cut on Sir Lancelot. But being with Majo and trying to heal the wounds of the world. And Louisville, Kentucky. When I woke up, I started telling the truth much more radically than I ever had. And part of it included writing a long letter to my son saying, you know, we did so great until your late teen years, but you treat me like shit for a lot of years now. When I call, you never sound happy to hear from me. I can predict that you will say, yeah, I've got a few minutes. And it sounds like you're watching TV or... And when I drive to Louisville to see you, we have a good Friday night catching up with each other, then you progressively treat me really disrespectfully because I'm violating the norms of your house. The last time I was there, you would specifically try to keep me from knowing your daughter. No, don't touch her. You know, it wasn't even COVID yet, but he was mean to me. So I wrote him and said, I've had it. You never call me. I left you a voicemail the other day. The ball's in your court. I've been saying for years, if I don't initiate to him, nothing will happen, but I took the risk. And then I didn't hear from him for a long time. And January, I guess it was January of 21, I was up in the mountains, and we had a big blowout over the phone. And he says, okay, I'll tell you the truth. Because I had sent him a video where I really laid out a bunch of stuff to him. And he called and ranted. He says, okay, you want to know why I'm so mean to you? Because I hate you. I hate you. You're the worst father that ever was. You never cared about me. It was always number one. You're just all about yourself. You never did anything for me. And in fact, I had been pretty heroic absentee parent. And he had lots of wounding because he adored me as a kid. So, of course, it really, really hurt that I wasn't there, and he's never done his work. And this is a real common phenomenon where the child blames the father who left the family and doesn't do his healing. He's never had counseling for him. And under the influence of his mom, who I think has never really healed, adopted her story that I wrecked their lives. So it came out of the closet. I got to see it. And on one level I said, what a relief. I know what it's about now. And I can just get on with my life and forget him because it's useless. But I couldn't do it. I still can't do it. And when I left the Blue Ridge, I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life in the Blue Ridge Mountains, but the second spring out there, I was celebrating every insect that came back. Wow, flies! Wow, the flies are back! And every flower that came out was just a miracle to me. Well, some bush, me and my Chihuahua Pancho were deep in the National Forest north of Asheville, and some new bush came out, and she and I both got violently sick, like violently sick. There was a couple weeks that I thought she was going to pass on. She'd breathe so hard at night. And I got so sick that the urgent care worker said, this can't be allergies. You've got Lyme disease. I took a tick out of your belly, but it was allergies. So we had to leave. We had to move. And I had had a long time dream of the Southwest and had almost moved to Mexico a dozen years before, so we started our travels west, and it had to include a stop in Louisville to try one last time to reach my son. We had a 2-hour visit that was wonderful, and then the next day he says, what am I doing? I hate you. No, and he's never talked to me since. That was June 6th of 2021. But I stayed in Nashville, in Louisville, and kept pitching to him, sending him videos, this and that. And also, I'm a big diversity guy, and when George Floyd was killed, I was in the mountains of North Carolina with no gas to get back to Asheville because I'm on a Social Security check still. And I'm always poor at the second half of the month, and didn't make it back to Asheville. And I did finally, but I really regretted not being involved in that stuff. And when I got to Louisville, I got really obsessed with Breonna Taylor. Where did it happen? Where are the protests happening? I found the Black Lives Matter people, and also found that the white people were so paranoid about, don't go downtown. Oh my God, don't go downtown. The black people, and this was a young hip kid at the convenience store who said he was identified as a person of color because he had Asian background, said, no. The black people are so angry they will rip you out of your car and beat you for being white. So completely not the truth at all, because I spent a lot of time downtown and spent a lot of time in the infamous West End of Louisville, which my black son had never ever told me about. Incredible bombed out ghetto. I spent a lot of time out there. And there was a Black Lives Matter festival in remembrance of, at the Breonna Taylor protest, there had been a white photographer shot to death in the protests, and this was the 1-year anniversary, and they're having a big festival in the fabulous downtown park. I went. It was a love fest between black and white, doing the electric slide together, and it was gorgeous, and I've got 3 videos somewhere in my iCloud from that. So I was on a mission to penetrate, to expose the fact that this was all white fragility, and the protests really had died out in this point, and there was a really good black community organizer running for mayor, and a really sharp, seemed to me like a young Barack Obama running for Senate against Ron Paul. But the poor population of Louisville was so dispirited. I was going, what could charge them up again? And I latched on to Questlove, Amir Questlove Thompson, the band leader for Jimmy Kimmel Show and head of the Roots Band, released a movie. The Summer of Soul is about the Harlem revival of 1969. This movie never got any traction because it was the same summer as Woodstock, but it was 3 weekends where there was like 300,000 people or something came out to free concerts in Harlem in this one park, to all the old great R&B top people. It's a spectacular movie, and I fell in love with that movie. I'm a dancer and love that music. And I went to, even though I was poor, I went to the Megaplex 4 days out of 5, bringing my little chihuahua along, and danced through the whole movie, and got this notion that if we could get black and white people dancing to that music, that movie, or even just get the black people, because there's a strong black power theme in the movie. So I went around, got the African American History Museum was going to show it at their place. The wonderful Parks volunteer group was going to show it in the parks. The libraries were going to show it in the libraries, but we never got the rights to it, and it never happened. But that's where I got so stressed out. So the thing about those strokes, I had 3 strokes in July. In the middle of all that, I was pushing myself too hard. But I followed up on those strokes because I was treated like shit. I had the stroke in the country, and they got on a hookup with the big U of L hospital. They said, bring him in by ambulance. They profiled me as poor, homeless, because I was traveling in a camper van, kept me waiting 5 hours, and in 30 minutes released me with a diagnosis of lightheadedness and no follow-up plans, and spilled me out into the street, not knowing where I was. I was still so messed up. So I followed up on that in New Orleans in the winter of 22, and the big Oxner neurology place, the guy said, those weren't strokes. Those are seizures. When it comes on that fast and leaves you with no damage, that's a seizure. Well, I had had 40 shock treatments, induced epileptic seizures. And I went, this is fishy. Okay.